Welcome back to day 3, Tony. We're back again, mate. Really busy day today, isn't it? You've got loads to rattle through. I think we had the first speaker of the day, or one of the first speakers, and we've had one of the last ones as well. So try and go for it in some sort of order. But first of all, good day overall?
Yeah, it was. Good day for the CW. I think I'm trying to lose count now. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we have 5 different speakers, which we can run through what they were. But you're right. We spoke in the first debate of the day, and we've literally just spoken in the last debate of the day. And I think that's just that thing we said on the last 2 roundups, that the CW is here to play its part. The CW is here to work on behalf of the members, and that's what our delegates have been doing today. And in fact, even though we had those speakers, there were a couple of debates where we'd indicated we wanted to speak, and because of the time constraints, I think we said this last night, because of the time constraints, we didn't get those speakers in. So, we should have been more active than we were, but that's through no fault of our own.
No, definitely not, mate. So let's start in that chronological order, if you like, with Karen Rose, our Deputy General Secretary. She was up earlier on with one of our own motions, did a great job, a really important issue as well.
Yeah, I mean, it dovetails into the stuff we've been talking about in previous roundups, this new deal for workers, the fringe meeting we talked about last night about restructuring the TUC, and the need for unions to come together to find a way to enhance sectoral bargaining. One of the things Karen was pointing out was, if you look at the decline in union membership, I think trade union membership now is only around 22% of the workforce, and what we see is competition between unions to try and pick up members in the same workplace. And actually what unions should be doing is coming together to have common bargaining agendas, so as we can uplift, if you like, the terms and conditions for all workers, which in turn would make it more attractive for people to want to join a union. So yeah, Karen, it's been a long standing policy of this union to campaign for those issues, and that's why we put the motion to the conference. It was compensated with a motion by Unite, if I remember rightly, and yeah, Karen seconded that and made those points on our behalf.
Yeah, she did a great job. Well done, Karen. Maura from our Utah branch was up twice, as you say, bookending the day, really. Doing a fantastic job in both speeches, which I know you'll give details of now, but brilliant to see someone, first-time delegate, a young delegate, having the confidence to get out there on behalf of our union.
Yeah, Maura did really well, as you say. First-time delegate, first-time speaker. The first motion, we'll come on to the other one, and the first motion she spoke on was about young workers. And, she made the point, we hear her said often about young workers being the future of the trade union movement. But I think the point she was making is that some of the old methods of campaign and some of the old methods of recruitment that we see in the trade union movement, the sort of handing out of leaflets at the factory gate, for want of a better phrase, might not be appropriate for certain sections and young workers. It's we live in a more digital age, as you'll understand, as Edicoms and the way we do our social media, and young workers need to be engaged in a different way than we have in the past, and that way you'll get more of them wanting to join a union. And so there was a good debate, a lot of young workers from a lot of trade unions talking about the need, like to reach out beyond, if you like, the traditional methods of trade unionism, to bring more young workers into the fold, so to speak. And we have a very active young workers section ourselves, which Murray is one. So a really good contribution on that particular point.
You yourself, Dave, I think the whole leadership of the union have been so emphatic on the need to bring new people through, next generation of reps. That said, experience is also vital in that mix as well. Steve Croak got up. He's not a first-time delegate, Steve. He's a long-term delegate, but he did a great job as well, didn't he?
Yeah, Steve got off. Steve's from our South Midlands postal branch, and this was a debate. Some would argue one of the most important debates. This is about employment rights. This is about how we're able to represent our members, what rights workers have, in work in the UK at this point in time. And we've long since campaigned for a new deal for workers, which Bridget Phillipson, who was the education minister, was speaking to Congress today, who assured us that the government intends to introduce the employment rights bill in full. But actually, this was about the next steps. This is about what comes after. This is about looking for a ban on fiery hire, the things that we've long campaigned for that are not in this particular piece of legislation. This looks about, there's been a long campaign about £15 an hour needs to be the minimum wage, because anything less really isn't a living wage, and that's what people need. And so Steve got up to speak on that issue, about the need to carry on. It's not like we're just going to accept what's come around in the Disemployment Rights Bill. You know, Steve was forceful in making the point that that fight continues for this trade union movement, for always for better legislation that helps us represent our members.
Thanks, Tony. I think the most lively debate, undoubtedly a conference, was the wages not weapons debate, moved by our friends in the UCU. You got in that. I know you wouldn't, definitely not, knowing you so well, have this view, but I think it's universally held that it was your speech, which you made, was the best speech of conference so far. I think all of our delegates are saying that. And they're all really, really proud of the job you did. And I know you've been getting grabbed as you've been going around the conference hall today as well. So a little plug for you there, because I know you wouldn't do that. But you got up, obviously. So a little bit about, what made you say, yeah, I want to pick that issue up on behalf of the union, and why it is important our union was behind that motion.
Yeah, well, thanks for the praise. That's for others. I'm just doing my job as I see it.
In routine fashion.
In routine fashion, yeah, it's my job. It's just get on with it. I think what's important about the debate, and it's a great little catchy slogan, wages not weapons. There's a lot that underpins it. And if you look at what this government has done, Keir Starmer set out to stall as seemingly that the only way he's going to boost the economy, because if you look at what Rachel Reid's financial straitjacket that she's put herself in, sort of limits the ability for public spending on the things we need. And some Keir Starmer at the same time, alongside John Healey, is talking about that the way to go to the economy is through massive increases in defence spending. And I like all the evidence, which is some of the contribution I made today. All the evidence is that's not. It's just factually incorrect. It's economically incorrect. It doesn't work like that. And at a time when we're talking about spending 300 billion by the end of this decade on the defence industry. Speaker after speaker has come to this rostrum this week and talked about underfunding in education, underfunding in the health service, underfunding in the fire and rescue service, underfunding in the transport system. All the things that make the society we live in, the society our members work and live in, a decent society that benefits all, are not going to be funded, because all the funding is going to be put over there. So, understandably, those unions that have workers in the defence industry didn't agree that that's the direction to take. But from our point of view, thankfully the motion was carried, and is now the policy that that this Congress needs to take to government. That all these things are if you like, the essential fabric of society that we need to live in. And spending on defence, we know where spending on defence ends up. If you're going to spend money on weapons of war, then they're going to be used in war, and we've seen that throughout the globe. We're seeing it today. As I said yesterday, Paul Novak was right to call out the Israeli government for their genocide, and that was a point we made in the debate.
Thanks, Tony. So, far less serious. I know you'd want me to bring this out. We won best stand of the conference, so we were buzzing with that.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Tony.
For winning the best stand of the Congress 2020.
But you
won a gift voucher, didn't you?
Oh, no, I didn't know. Marcia has won that, apparently. But actually, apart from having a funny there.
It's good to acknowledge that, it is a little aside, and it's not really a competition as such, but it does mark our presence in the movement, and people recognise the CWU and the work we do.
Yeah, great. And I thought, I guess what I was thinking of a link to it, and thinking one of the things perhaps we haven't done in all the years we've done the roundups is talk about that much about the staff that help, particularly you and Dave, behind the scenes, be ready for the conference. The secretarial team, people like Chloe and that, and a shout out and maybe a bit of information for the members at just the level of work that goes into making sure the union and you guys are ready to do your business.
Oh, absolutely. We come down on Saturday. We set up an office down here. Gia down from IT. You got Dawn and Angela and Anne-Marie and Chloe, and yourself and the whole of your comms team. April is doing this video now. You got Marcia doing the story. You got Marcus doing reports. We've got the whole of the, if you like, your team down here, which is it's easy in a way for me and Dave and the delegates to just sit in a conference and listen to speeches, and occasionally get up and make a 3 or 5 minute contribution. But the union still runs outside of the conference. The day job, if you like, goes on, and that's why the staff down here are a fantastic resource. And I work, in, for one of the best phrase, out of hours, outside their normal shifts. Working all weekend, working in the early mornings, just to make sure that we've got everything we need to do to be able to carry out our role in that Congress hall, but also to make sure that the other work we do on a daily basis is carrying on. So, it take my hat off to them for the efforts and the work they put in.
Spot on.
Just going to quote Roy Keane there.
No, definitely not. No, I won't go down well with it. Just a final, I guess, message from you. We've got another big day tomorrow with our other motion, and any sort of closing thoughts you got on today.
Yeah, just a thanks to Trish Follins, on North East Regional Secretary, got to speak on the AI debate, and actually pointed out how that works across all the sectors within telecoms, tech, finance, and postal, particularly referencing the issue that we spoke about before about TikTok, but we've got an emergency motion on that tomorrow. And as you say, the very last debate was about the new draft EHRC guidance on trans rights, and again, Moira from the Utah branch got up and spoke, pointing out how it's flawed and how it's wrong, and actually, equalities for trans and non-binary people is just another plank of, if you like, equality campaign, and that we intend to do as a union. Another great fringe meeting last night, which we were all at, which we spoke about yesterday. Well, probably the best attended fringe meeting at TUC this year, to be perfectly honest. But it is a big day. We've got the motion on reforming the TUC and making the TUC more, if you like, responsive, more active for the members, who pay our subscriptions and therefore help fund the TUC. If tomorrow's another day, we'll be back again.
We'll give you all the highlights. Thanks, Tony, and thanks to everyone for tuning in.